Here's your wrestling news for February 18th, 2023, and we're kicking off with Raw as the Bloodline opened the latest episode with an in-ring segment with the Judgment Day, and while it looked like the two factions would come to blows, that didn't happen. Instead, it was revealed that Roman Reigns had ordered Paul Heyman to form a temporary alliance with the Judgment Day, resulting in the two sides targeting each other's enemies. There was an interesting moment when Rhea Ripley decided to switch places with Finn Balor so she could go face-to-face with Solo Sikoa. The crowd popped huge for the interaction. Paul Heyman asked if everything was okay, to which Rhea replied, "For now," and this isn't the first tease of a Sikoa-Ripley match. The two had a stare-down on the January 16th, 2023 episode of Monday Night Raw, and Ripley has proven that she can take on male superstars and even floored Kevin Owens with a clothesline this week. Back to the present, and this alliance resulted in Solo Sikoa getting a win over Rey Mysterio, but Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and Damian Priest coming up short against Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Matt Riddle. After the match, a huge brawl broke out between the two teams, which later involved the Bloodline and the LWO, and on social media, fans noticed a seeming lack of interest from Kevin Owens. The prizefighter certainly did not display the same fire that he usually brings to the show, leading some fans to speculate that he has already lost faith in teaming with Sami Zayn. The two won the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships from the Usos in the main event of WrestleMania 39 Night 1 in a highly emotional moment, and while ending the team this soon would not be a popular decision, it wouldn't be the first time WWE has made a call like this. Owens and Zayn have proven to be popular, and splitting the team now would stink of Vince McMahon booking. But do you think a turn is coming, and what do you make to the segment in general? Sound off in the comments. This week's Raw came to us from North Little Rock, Arkansas, but one of the WWE's biggest names in recent history did not make it to the show. Prior to the show, Becky Lynch informed her followers on Twitter that she would not be coming to Raw, and the bluntness of her post raised some eyebrows. Trish Stratus, who turned on Lynch last week, had her own response to Lynch's tweet, using a clip of Becky's husband Seth Rollins saying, "Bye-bye, bitch," and laughing in glee. That wasn't the only activity on Lynch's Twitter page fans took notice of, though, as she has also blacked out her Twitter account and changed her name to her real name, Rebecca Quinn. The absence of her official blue tick also raised some questions with fans, with many speculating about her future with WWE and if she's preparing to leave the company. There's a lot of unanswered questions right now, but what we do know is that Lynch's absence from Raw wasn't part of the original plans for the show. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful reports that Lynch was part of the plans for Raw as of last week, but she's been dealing with a minor foot injury that has gotten worse. Sapp noted, "Becky Lynch, one of the top stars in pro wrestling and a WrestleMania main eventer, legitimately is not set to be at the April 17th episode of Raw. When we inquired within WWE, we were told that she was originally scheduled to be at WWE Raw as of last Monday, but WWE sources had indicated that there are no issues to their knowledge between Becky Lynch and WWE. She's been dealing with a minor foot injury, which has been exacerbated recently." Lynch's foot injury explains why she was not present at this week's Raw, but it doesn't answer why exactly she blacked out her Twitter and removed references to WWE. In a separate report from Sapp, it was released that Lynch's current WWE deal is set to expire in June next year, and that she and WWE have not entered negotiations. The report stated that when Lynch returned from maternity leave in 2021, she signed a 3-year deal with WWE, and it said that her time away due to pregnancy is not a factor in her current situation. Lynch isn't the only superstar whose contract is ticking down, as WWE sources have told Fightful that several deals are up in 2024, as WWE signed much of the roster to 4-year contracts in 2020. It was also noted that Becky Lynch has already also made connections within Hollywood and was slated to appear at the end of a Marvel movie at one point before being cut. The former Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion is also repped by the Creative Artists Agency, one of the biggest talent agencies around, so finding work would not be difficult out of WWE. Only time will tell what Becky Lynch does next, as she has made a lot of money and memories in WWE, but she also has a life at home that must be attractive as well, and we'll have to wait and see on the man's next contract move. Raw also saw an appearance from Brock Lesnar, and given how rare these are, it's a shame that the Beast was pretty underutilized this week. Cody Rhodes appeared on Raw to call out Lesnar, who we knew was in the arena, and Cody had ditched his suit and was clearly ready for anything. It was Adam Pearce who refused to let things escalate, and when Lesnar appeared, now donned in a new dark appearance, Pearce made the match between Brock and Cody official for Backlash. The segment also saw 20-plus members of WWE security try to stop Cody to no avail, but Lesnar himself did not get physical, nor did he utter a word. There was no action from the former Universal Champion, and there was also a completely unnecessary shot of him walking backstage. Given that Lesnar appearances are few and far between, this came across as a waste of the WWE legend, and it would have been a better decision to simply have him sit out this week. Many fans were taken aback by Lesnar's new attire, as the long dark coat Brock wore had fans thinking of a certain Hall of Famer. On Twitter, fans joked that instead of Lesnar, they were seeing The Undertaker make his return to WWE, and the dark coat, along with Brock's hat, certainly wouldn't have looked out of place on the dead man. Some fans joked that after breaking the streak at WrestleMania 30, Lesnar won access to Undertaker's closet. And what do you make of the dark attire for the newly heel-turned Beast? In the run-up to WrestleMania 39, Austin Theory didn't hold back in his comments against John Cena, and it was a war of words on Raw that led to their match being made official. At first, Cena rejected the challenge by Theory, even going as far as to say that, like his last name, the US champion has yet to prove himself in a particularly cutting line from John. While speaking on the Out of Character podcast, Theory said that The Miz and Baron Corbin, two men Cena is feuded with, warned him about what John may say to him in the ring. He said, "Yeah, you know, Miz, Baron Corbin, sounds like all the bad guys are who told me to be ready for my in-ring segment with John Cena. They're just like, man, just be ready. You're gonna get thrown out there in some deep water, just be prepared, but you know, I had my cool sneakers on and my shades that he talked trash about, and I was feeling good. I was like, I came out here with one thing in mind and I got it. So you know, telling me people don't believe in me, all right, John, I'm gonna make you believe. I'm gonna make them all stop believing in you." Not only was Theory able to survive the verbal barrage of the former WWE champion, but he had some lines of his own and would go on to defeat John at WrestleMania. We can't say for certain when John Cena will be back, though he has been rumored for WWE Night of Champions, but Theory will be ready if the 16-time world champion has any more promos about him. Back to Raw, which saw Theory face Bobby Lashley, and given the feud between the two last year, fans were expecting another impressive outing. This week, they had a decent match that came to an abrupt end via DQ thanks to the interference of Bronson Reed. We're not saying that the Reed involvement was bad per se, as the feud between those two have been building for some time, but we are tired of Theory versus Lashley matches not ending decisively. WWE wanted to protect both Lashley and Theory so badly that they went with an unsatisfactory finish, and this is hardly the first time it's happened. As for Theory, what even is next for him? As the US champion is supposed to be the next big star in WWE, but nothing seems in place for him at this time. Let's not forget that Theory defeated John Cena, one of the greatest ever, at WWE's biggest annual event, WrestleMania, just over 2 weeks ago, and it seems now that he's in the same position, if not worse, than he was before that match. But what do you think of this? And what would you be doing with Austin Theory if you were the one running WWE's creative? For years, Abdullah the Butcher made his name in wrestling in various promotions, but now the veteran is in serious need of some financial help. A GoFundMe account has been set up for Abdullah by his godson Essa, who explained that the wrestler is in need of a hip replacement and is unable to make the money he is used to making. Essa described his godfather as a great humanitarian who has helped his friends, family, and the homeless in Atlanta, and the fund has raised $7,000 of its $60,000 goal. At 81 years old, Abdullah's days in the ring are behind him, and he can therefore not make the money he used to make in the ring, and we're sending our best to him at this time. A few weeks ago, it seemed impossible that CM Punk would ever return to AEW, but a lot has happened since then. It's been over the past few days that reports have come out stating that AEW is planning his return, and there's now been another major sign that he will soon be back in the ring. Andrew Zarian of Wrestling Observer Live reports that AEW are so confident that Punk's return is happening that they've been informing their media partners. He said, The story here is that CM Punk is essentially happening. I know for a fact that Warner has been told he is coming back. They are very much aware of the situation. Kazarian added that the rumored talks between Punk and the Elite have yet to take place, and that the Young Bucks in particular have been reluctant to work with him. Punk has been pitching ideas for his return, some of which include the Elite, but it's also been reported that Punk will be kept away from those who still have an issue with him. The fact that Warner Media have been told of Punk's return is the biggest sign yet of his comeback. And are you excited to see the return of Punk? Sound off in the comments. After what happened at All Out, many fans thought they had seen the last of CM Punk in AEW, especially after his trainer and backstage fight ally Ace Steel was fired. Now it's believed that Punk's return is happening, to the point that he has been pitching ideas for his return, and a meeting between Punk and Chris Jericho is expected. Some of Punk's ideas for his return have involved the Elite, but that may be difficult, as Andrew Zarian of Wrestling Observer Live reports. Punk recently had said that he wants to return to AEW and he wants to make it work. The issue here is that he's willing to work with the Elite members. I know as of the time I was told, and earlier this week, there was no intention on the other side. Maybe Kenny Omega a little bit more than the Bucks, but they do not want to work with him. There's been no dialogue between the two sides either about sitting down and making this work. Zarian added that if Punk's first feud back in AEW isn't with the Elite, then it will likely be with somebody who has their own personal grievances with the Chicago-made star. The way it was alluded to me is that the program will probably be Punk and Jericho in some capacity. I don't know if FTR is involved or the Jericho Appreciation Society is involved. Jericho's willing to make this work. CM Punk could bring big business and much-needed attention to AEW, especially as the ratings have fallen without him around. And we'll just have to keep waiting to see if a deal can be reached. But what do you make to Punk's expected return? Would you have brought him back if you were in Tony Khan's shoes? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. More from Raw. As 7 days removed from her heel turn last week, fans were eager to hear what Trish Stratus had to say. Last week, Stratus filled in for Lita, who had been attacked backstage, and after she and Becky Lynch lost the women's tag titles, the Canadian legend blindsided the man. On this week's show, Trish revealed that she was the one who attacked Lita, stating that her friend needed to be put out of her misery, and also took credit for fans caring about women's wrestling in the first place. Stratus then referred to the Four Horse Ladies as a joke, claiming that she's responsible for the women's revolution, and added that Lita had become Lynch's sidekick, something she would never be. Trish went on to say that she is no nostalgia act and is the most important figure in the history of the company, in a fiery promo from the legendary wrestler. It is somewhat bizarre that Trish feels she hasn't been properly appreciated, as there are countless examples of WWE and superstars speaking highly of her, but what did you make to this week's promo? It was just 2 weeks ago that WWE and Endeavor reached a monumental deal, but even this hasn't stopped Vince McMahon from trying to grow his brand. PW Insider Elite reports that WWE and ESPN have been in talks over a lot of collaborations moving forward, despite the Endeavor deal. The report did state that these talks do not involve a weekly TV series, and while another promotion has been speaking to ESPN, it isn't AEW. Vince McMahon will soon no longer own WWE, but he will remain in charge, and before he gives up his role as an owner, the chairman wants to get in as many big money deals as he can. It was just last week that WWE announced that next month's King and Queen of the Ring event will now be known as WWE Night of Champions. Immediately, fans speculated on what this means for the two announced tournaments, and fans excited to see new monarchs be crowned should prepare to be disappointed. PW Insider Elite reports this week that the two tournaments are less likely to take place, and cited the recent changes to WWE Creative as the reason. Now, the report did stress that just because the two tournaments are less likely to happen, that doesn't mean they won't, and stated that WWE's final plans for the event haven't been set in stone. And we're ending with Charly Caruso, who for years brought a wealth of skills and excitement to WWE before moving on to the next chapter of her career at ESPN. Now, the former WWE personality, now going by her real name Charly Arnault, has parted ways with ESPN and will be joining Outkick, according to a press release. In that press release, Outkick announced that Arnault will be co-hosting a new show in development, with an announcement expected ahead of the football season. Arnault will continue her role as a reporter for UFC events and has other projects to her name, so the former WWE personality will be kept plenty busy with her new role.